Weren't they incredible? Thank you guys very much. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Veterans Day ceremony. We honor our veterans, past, present, those that have fallen, those that have given their lives, the ultimate sacrifice in serving this great country. We've got a great weekend this weekend. We have the ceremony today at 2 o'clock this afternoon. We will be having the Veterans Day Parade. It'll be going down around the square. We encourage everyone to come to that. And tomorrow, a very special presentation that will be taking place down at Memorial Park at 11:11:11. That will be it's the Armistice Day bell ringing. That's the end of World War I officially, the war to end all wars. We hoped that would have been the case, but unfortunately it was not. But that's going to be a very special time. They'll be ringing the bells twice in honor of that day. It's going to be something, they're going to take place all over the country in remembering Armistice Day 1918. 1918 is a very special date in my life. That's the year that my dad was born. I always bring his flag and a memory of him that I carry with me always. He was born in 1918 in Drumright, Oklahoma, and went on to serve in World War II in the 45th Infantry Division. Fought in the European theater, went all the way from North Africa, all the way to Munich, Germany. And many times that I used to talk to him. I lost him in 1986. He passed away. It seemed like it's been a long time, but yet it seems like it's yesterday. I always keep my dad in my heart, and especially this year. He was born September the 29th, 1918. I remember my dad and in a very special way. Very special man. He was my hero. And he always will be, and I will see him again one day. So we get things underway. Our invocation this morning will be presented by Maurice Simpson.
Shall we all please stand and uncover? Let us pray. Almighty God, creator of all things, our supreme commander, we give you all praises and honor. And Father, we thank you for allowing us to take this pause today to honor, celebrate, and commemorate our veterans, those that are here now and those that have gone on. Father, all of us gave some, but some of us gave it all. We just want to thank you for giving us the strength and the ability to continue to fight the fight to keep this nation free. Father, we appreciate our freedom, and our Father, help us to learn how to be free, Father. It seems that the way things are going now, that we don't know what freedom is, and we don't know how to be free. So, Father, we just want to thank you and ask you to continue to bless us and help us get through this. Father, we want to say blessings upon our first responders that are here today and all those that are serving throughout the world. We ask these blessings in Jesus' mighty name. And all of God's people said, amen.
Thank you, Maurice. Now the presentation of the colors by Granbury High School, JROTC.
Forward! For the front. The right. The right.
Leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance is Cadet Private First Class Caitlin Duggar. the Granbury High School GROTC program.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now our national anthem to be performed by John Stafford Smith, Acton Middle School varsity tenor.
Ready, cut, vote.
5, 7, march.
Ready, post. Right, face, forward, march, left, right, left, right, left, left, right, left, 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 right, left, left, right, left.
Thank you, folks. Please be seated. Several years ago, people got together and came up with an idea to include the young people in this program. And what we're about to do now is honor those who have participated in this. This is the What Veterans Day Means to Me. Area schools were asked to be a part of this and write an essay as what it meant to individuals at the high schools and the middle schools and the grade schools. And again, we will be doing the same thing. We're going to, first of all, got to give a shout out to Denise Schneider. She was the judge of this, working for Hood County News. Roger Enlow usually does that, and Jerry Tidwell. But Denise, thank you so much for doing that for us this year. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to announce the finalists of those. And if you guys would like to, if you're here, if you would like to come up on stage, and then, of course, we will have the winner of this will read his or her essay if they prefer to. First of all, the finalists are Priscilla Kavanaugh, Stars Accelerated High School. Yeah, y'all clap. Even though she's not here, that's right. Next we have Sakura Hatton of Acton Middle School. Tanner Taylor of Lipan High School. Abby Turner of Granbury High School. Okay, and our grand prize winner is Brooklyn Bennett of Granbury Middle School. Is that you, Brooklyn? Brooklyn's not here? Okay. But wait, here she comes. Thank you. Yeah, because Brooklyn, we're going to put you on the spot. You get to read yours. Oh, no. Would you like to read it? Would you prefer me to read it? I can read, okay. All right, this is what Brooklyn wrote. What Veterans Day means to me. Veterans Day for me is honoring my great-grandfather for fighting in World War II. Veterans Day is a great day to celebrate the sacrifice, courage, and honor of our great soldiers as leaders from a great country known as the United States of America. My great-grandfather fought in the military during World War II. Even though he was drafted, he still fought even as if he was enlisted. I used to write letters to him for Veterans Day and tell him how proud I am to be his great-granddaughter, and he had served our country right. It feels good to be related to a brave, selfless war hero. If you ever talk to a veteran, you get an idea of what they've been through. These patriots may look sad, but they're sincerely happy to be alive and talking to you. A person with that kind of courage deserves to be honored and thanked for their service. Veterans are much more than brave soldiers. They have left families to go sacrifice their lives for America. They leave knowing that they may never live to see their families again. Veterans also sacrifice years of hard work to fight for Americans' freedom. Veterans Day is a great day to celebrate the sacrifice, courage, and honor of our great soldiers as leaders from a great country known as the United States of America. These patriots have done so much for us, and now it's our turn to give back. So we should thank them as they served us well. Brooklyn, thank you so much. Thank you to all of these that participated in this. And Brooklyn's essay will be hung at the City Council Hall, I believe, and be up there for a year. And you will also receive a gift certificate, a gift card, I believe it is. So y'all done good. Thank you very much. Let's hear it for them one more time. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to introduce our keynote speaker today. We have Robin Greer, U.S. Navy Second Class Petty Officer. Robin grew up in Lipan, but she's not a veteran, but is also the daughter of two veterans, as both her mother and father served. She's also the wife of a veteran, the mother of a veteran, and has a daughter currently serving in the Air Force today. I think that qualifies, Robin. That's plenty of it. Huh? I know, I haven't got there yet. Robin's been serving veterans for a long time. She decided to join the Navy Reserves. There we are. 2 weeks after she was sworn in, 9/11 happened, and her life changed forever. She initially joined as an intelligence specialist, but with growing need for security forces, she rated over to rate a Master at Arms and went on to spend the majority of her reserve commitment on active orders. She was soon mobilized in order to become a part of an 8-man team that worked to change the role of Master at Arms from Navy law enforcement to Navy security forces. During this time, she gained the title of Master Training Specialist and worked diligently to build and reshape the Master at Arms community into an elite group who now be responsible for anti-terrorism force protection needs of the Navy. After serving the majority of her 8-year reserve commitment on active duty, She chose not to re-enlist to the civilian and return to the civilian sector where she made her life's work to serve veterans in need. Robin is active and holds a membership in the American Legion Post 75, AMVETS Post 133, VFW Post 7835, Auxiliary, and is a member of the newly chartered Granbury DAV Post 238. Ladies and gentlemen, Robin Greer.
One of which was, did I want to be stationary? Did I want to move around? And I'm looking at microphones. Folks, I was an instructor in the Navy, and I think if I walk out here, can everybody hear me just fine? Is there anybody who can hear me? Okay, that's good. Nobody raised their hand. But I saw hearing aids get turned off. Thank you. A lot of people, a lot of guest speakers, when they first come forward, you know, they want to tell jokes or whatever. And I'm not about telling jokes. And I thought long and hard about what I want to talk about today. You know, and I asked them, I said, well, what do you want me to speak about? And they said, well, that's up to you. It's your choice. Okay, how long do you want me to speak? 30 minutes. I thought, that's 6 minutes per grandbaby. That's not enough time. But one of the things that I would like to do when I speak to an audience, I want to know my audience. So, if you will, I'm not going to ask anybody to stand right now. If you served in the Army, please raise your hand. Served or currently serving? So we've got some Army. What about our Navy people? What about our Air Force? We've got some Air Force. What about the Coast Guard? Yeah, Maurice, where are you hiding? There you are. I got my husband here on Coast Guard. Now, I am going to ask the Marines to stand. All the Marines stand. And at this time, I'm going to ask the choir if they will help me. Tomorrow is Veterans Day. Today is the birthday of the United States Marine Corps. These fellows look pretty good. What is it, 234 years? Let's sing happy birthday to these guys, because all Marines celebrate their birthday on November 10th. Will y'all help me? Because I can't sing. Ready? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Marine Corps. Happy birthday to you.
Hoorah!
Thank you. Y'all can be seated now. I wanted to give special recognition because today is very, very important to our Marines. And they're fortunate that their birthday falls the day before Veterans Day. I understand that there will be somebody coming up and talking about Veterans Day. So I don't want to talk about Veterans Day, but I do want to talk about veterans. I want to talk a little bit about numbers, statistics, give you a little bit of history. Today's a historical day, I think, for Granbury, because in all the years that they've been doing this ceremony, I'm the first female veteran who's been asked to serve, to speak. In addition to that, a little unknown fact about the Navy. The United States Navy is the only branch of the military service where an ensign is an officer and a petty officer isn't. I was a petty officer. I was enlisted. I left the Navy at the rank of E5, so I'm also the first enlisted personnel to be able to have the pleasure of speaking before y'all. Thank you. In my job, in my career, I'm very, very blessed and very fortunate to be able to serve veterans for a living. It's my life. It's what I do. Both my parents served. I had son who served, I have a daughter who's currently serving, I served, my husband served. It's my life, it's what I know. But what I want to share most with y'all, and I'm so pleased that I'm not preaching to the choir. While there are a lot of veterans here today, there are a lot of non-veterans. So I want to share some information. Most places I go, the speaker talks about, you know, their self, their life. They talk about what's going on nationally. I want to talk about what's going on right here in Hood County. I want to give you facts, figures, and numbers. Luckily for me, the 2017 numbers and statistics came out on the 31st of October. And I have some amazing friends who work for TexVet out of Texas A&M University. I contacted them and I said, hey, I'm going to be speaking to some folks in Granbury and I need some numbers for Hood County. Can you help me get them together? And they did. It was wonderful. I was so thrilled. If you served in the military and you received anything other than a dishonorable discharge, you are a veteran. A lot of people don't realize that. They think, well, you had to serve in combat or you had to retire. That's not the case. If you served and received anything other than a dishonorable discharge, you are a veteran. And as a veteran, there are certain services and things that you are entitled to. We have more people coming in, wonderful. And if you'll excuse me, my nervous tick is a cough. So I have my word, I hope. In 2017, in the United States of America, there were 24.4 million veterans. In Texas, there's 1,680,000 veterans. But here's a fact a lot of you didn't know. In the state of Texas, the numbers for 2017, there were 177,585 women veterans. We're here. Now, how does that relate to Hood County? Well, I see that we have some people here from a variety of veterans organizations, and I'm willing to bet that I'm going to give you information that you're not even aware of. In Hood County, our veteran population, there are 5,216 men who served that are classified as veterans. There are 396 women right here in Hood County. Women veterans, and I apologize, but I'm a woman and I'm the first woman to get to speak, so I want to talk a little bit about women veterans, and I want to give a history lesson to the amazing kids that are here today. You know, women currently and have continued over the years, many, many years, to serve very, very important roles in the military. During the Spanish-American War, there were 1,503 women who actually served. Here's the sad part. There were 22 women killed in that war. During World War I, which was April 1917 until November 1918, bet that was one of them coins. We had 400,000 women serve. Oh, I'm sorry. I jumped ahead of myself, the coin dropping. We had 21,000 serve, but we had 500 women casualty. World War II, we had 400,000 women serve, and we had 400 women casualty. During the Korean War, there were 50,000 women who served, and we had 2 casualties. Vietnam. Vietnam dates go from 1964 to 1975. There were 265,000 women who served during Vietnam. 7,500 of those women actually deployed to combat theater. The majority of them were in nursing roles. There were 8 women killed during the Vietnam War. Now let's advance to the Persian Gulf War. The Persian Gulf War, the date starts in August of 1990, and the date has not closed yet. So what they call is pre-9/11 and post-9/11. Pre-9/11, we had 374,000 women serve during the first Gulf War. 15 of them were killed in action. Post 9/11, which includes Operation Enduring Freedom, Operation Iraqi Freedom, Operation New Dawn. These are all figures since 2001. We had 700,000 women since September 11th who have served. I'm one of those. We've had 167 that were killed in action. You know, we always talk about, and especially on Memorial Day, you hear about all the men, and that's wonderful, and I respect my brothers, and I admire my brothers, and I honor my brothers. But we need to remember the sisters too. The mothers, the daughters, the sisters, the wives. We serve too. 167 since September 11th. Now, let's bring it back to Hood County. And I hope that our county and our city officials are paying attention. In Hood County, we have 2,511 Vietnam veterans as of December 31st, 2017. First Gulf War, there's 854. Post 9/11, there's 917. Right here in Hood County. Many veterans who serve go on to seek some kind of benefit through the Department of Veterans Affairs. And when you think about the VA, the first thing that comes to mind is the hospital. Well, the VA is much more than just the hospital or the clinic. The Department of Veterans Affairs encompasses multiple entities and organizations. They provide housing, they provide education, yes, medical care, home renovations. There are so many different programs. It's not just medical care, but I am going to talk a little more about medical care. But I wanted to share with you some figures that I thought were really, really interesting. Of all of the veterans who live in Hood County, at the end of 2017, the total VA expenditures, that's money that the VA from one of their various departments contributed to veterans who live in Hood County, $41 million. $41 million is coming into this county by veterans. 24 million of that is compensation and pension. Now, what is compensation and pension? Those are the veterans who have received some kind of disability, so they're getting compensated, or they're a wartime era veteran, but they're low income. They're not getting disability, but they may qualify for a pension, which is funds to help them exist because it pays just a little more than Social Security does. They have a program that's under their education department called Vocational Rehabilitation and Employment. The Department of Veterans Affairs in 2017 invested $1,798,000 into Hood County veterans for education, training, and employment purposes. Now let's get to the heart of those who receive medical care. You know, we have, right, well, it's in Acton, but it's Hood County, the Granbury Community-Based Outpatient Clinic. And for those of you who are not aware of what that is, it is a VA clinic, but it's not a VA clinic. It's a private doctor who contracts with the Department of Veterans Affairs to provide veteran services and treats veteran patients. And a lot of veterans don't want to go there, they don't want to utilize it because they say it's the VA, and the VA has a bad reputation for not really taking care of our vets. But I'm here to tell you our clinic in Acton is wonderful because this is it's run by civilians. While they do have some staff who served in the military, they are not VA employees. They're private contractors. And they do what they do because they want to help and serve veterans. The Department of Veterans Affairs for medical expenses to veterans in Hood County in 2017 spent $14.5 million for medical care. I'm not going to tell you what they spent on me because, truthfully, I don't live in Hood County. I'm on the Palapena County side of Lipan. And congratulations, Tanner, by the way, I was happy to see Lipan represented in the scholarships. That's amazing. That $14 million, that covers a veteran who may have needed a hearing aid, who may have had to have open heart surgery, who may be on specialized medication, who may be getting mental health care, who may be needing transportation to their VA appointment. That's a lot of money invested in veterans here in Hood County. $14.5 million just for medical care. Just medical care. And you wonder why it's so important that our federal government invest in VA care. So with all of that, 14 million, well, 14 and a half, the actual number is $14,668,000. The number of unique patients, and this is what is so astounding to me, is only 1,536 patients. A little over $14.5 million for 1,536 patients. If y'all were paying attention, how many veterans did we have in Hood County? A whole lot more than that. So we have a lot of veterans here in Hood County that aren't receiving, medical care through the VA. That may be because they're healthy, they don't have issues, they don't have problems. It may be that they don't trust the VA. It may be that they've got good private health insurance, or it may be that they just don't know that they're eligible for that care. $14.5 million for 1,536 people. Imagine what it would be if all of the veterans were getting some kind of VA health care. An interesting note, Texas, the total expenditure in the state of Texas for the VA, $15 billion is what the VA invests in the state of Texas for its veterans. And this money goes for housing, health care, VA home loans, education, home renovations. On medical care, $5 billion. $5,291,232,000 is what goes to medical care. The unique patients, and for those of you who don't know what unique patients is, that's a single patient, a single person. It's not a repetitive visits by one person. 489,510 veterans in the state of Texas currently receive medical care through the Department of Veterans Affairs. And we expect this number to grow. And as it grows statewide, it will grow countywide. So we have 4,075 veterans in Hood County who are not using VA services, healthcare services. Y'all need to go out and talk to your friends, because let me tell you, the doctors we have out there are great. We have a young doctor, Dr. Luke Anderson, and he's very good, and he listens to his patients. So I encourage you, if you know of a veteran and they don't know that we have this clinic out there, I encourage you to talk to them and encourage them to go there. They don't have to drive to Fort Worth. They don't have to drive to Dallas. They can go to the clinic right there in Acton. Now, I want to talk to you a little bit about one of the things I do while serving veterans and why these numbers are so important to me. It's estimated that 22 veterans take their life every day. That's one veteran every 68 minutes. Is it because they're not getting VA health care? Maybe. Is it because they're not getting mental health care? Some of them. It's because they feel lost. They're tired of battling. They're tired of, fighting the VA. They're tired of people not understanding. They're tired of the war running through their head over and over. They're tired of not being able to pay their bills because they don't know that there are resources out there available to help them. And that's my job. My job is to connect veterans to resources. I don't know all the resources, but I know a lot of the resources. And what resources I don't know, I know people who do know those resources. My telephone is my work tool. And I can connect a veteran who's been struggling with, battling the VA, trying to get their claims taken care of, trying to get a disability compensation or trying to get a pension. I can make 1 or 2 phone calls and I can connect them with the person that it is that they need. Some tell me I'm magical. I'm not magical. It's my job to know this. It's my job to know these numbers. It's my job to do whatever I can to help veterans in need. Sometimes that's pulling their wife aside and talking to them about some of the issues that they're going through. Sometimes it's sitting down and talking to their kids and explaining to their kids why mom or dad doesn't want to go to their choir concert or their basketball game or their football game. It's not because they don't love them, it's because they don't want to deal with the crowds. They don't want to get out, they don't want to be around. And we have a lot of these veterans here in Hood County. In 2017, and these are just the numbers I know about, there were 4 veterans in Hood County who took their own life. 4. Comparing that on the national average, it's not very many, but it's too many. 1 is too many. And I say these are the ones we know about because these are the ones who it was obvious that it was a suicide. But every day there are veterans who are in automobile accidents, motorcycle accidents, serious falls, that we don't know. Was it an accident? Or was it a suicide? So that's part of what I do through my job with Pecan Valley Centers is to educate the public and to educate veterans on what we can do to help, to prevent these suicides, to get mental health treatment for these veterans. And that doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to ship them off to the VA or I'm going to, send them to some place to be locked up at Red River or Wichita Falls or wherever. Sometimes it's as simple as me pairing them up with a battle buddy. Those of us who served in the military know what a battle buddy is. Those of you who didn't may not be aware. A battle buddy is somebody who is in your situation or has been in your situation. They understand, they get it. So I go out and I try to meet veterans who may not be having any kind of issues. They may have handled, their wartime or their service time very, very well and not having issues. But they're familiar with everything that some other veteran may be having issues with. So I can pair them up when I have a particular veteran who's got issues. I call them up and I say, hey, I've got this vet and they gave me this information and this is their background. Would you be willing to meet with them and talk with them? I pair them up with a battle buddy because sometimes it helps just knowing you're not alone. Just knowing there's somebody else out there who gets it, so you don't have to explain it. Going to the VA or going to the doctor, you know, everybody in this room has been to a doctor, and you have to first you explain it to the nurse, and then you have to explain it to the doctor, and you know, and then they bring somebody else in, and you have to explain it to them, and you get so tired of having to explain this stuff. Excuse me. You get tired of having to explain this stuff to everybody. And when it's like a ghost inside you that's haunting you every time you bring it up, it hurts. It terrifies you. It disturbs you. So you don't want to have to keep bringing it up. So pairing them up with a battle buddy, somebody who understands, makes it simpler, because they don't have to keep repeating the story. They know that that person, just because they served in the same area, it may not have been in the same unit, but they may have served in Fallujah, you know, or served in Denay, you know, wherever the case may be. They or served in the same branch, went to boot camp relatively same time. Just that connection, and it helps so that they can talk to somebody. You know, and sometimes it's not somebody who even served during the same time. You know, sometimes I can pair up a Marine with a Marine. One time I paired up a cop with a Vietnam vet. And the friendship that they forged was amazing, because that Vietnam vet realized that what that police officer did was quite simple. And I'm very, very pleased. They're both sitting together on the front row, and I love them both very dearly. My husband and what I call my other husband. They forged a bond because what the police officer did and what the Vietnam vet did, they realized there were a lot of similarities. They saw a lot of things, even though it was different times, different locations, different places. They saw a lot of things that haunt them. They knew and they understood the other one gets it. And that's part of what I do in my role, is pair up and connect up these battle buddies. You know, I didn't even ask anybody to watch the clock. I don't know how long I've been talking. I think we're still on time, right? Because I have some more that I want to talk about. I'm an Army of One. My program is funded through the Department of Health and Human Services. They barely provide me enough for a salary, and they expect me to go out and have a team of volunteers that I pull together to go out and help. Well, getting volunteers together, you know, somebody hears, well, I want you to volunteer, and they automatically panic, you know, because they think, oh Lord, what am I going to be doing? To be a volunteer in my program can just be as simple as you might get a phone call one time in a year saying, hey, I met this person, and I remember your story was similar. Would you be willing to call them or go see them and talk to them? You know, becoming a battle buddy. Sometimes I may ask a volunteer to do a special task. Right now, I work a 6-county region, and in my 6 counties, I have 32 amazing volunteers. Some I call on once a year, some I'm talking to every day. It just depends on the capacity in which they want to serve. And you know, here in Hood County, not just with my program, but there are other programs where anyone can volunteer. And I'm going to give a shout out to my friend Asa Maddox over there. Asa was very instrumental. One of the big problems our veterans have is getting transportation to and from their medical appointments. So that's why some don't go. That's why some take their lives. I can't get in and see the doctor. This medication that they put me on last time is not working. I can't follow up. What's the point? You know, I can't drive. So out of desperation, they may take their own life. And ASA worked with the Department of Veterans Affairs, and they got a VA van. How many of you in this room are even aware that we have a VA van that takes patients to and from VA appointments? Not very many hands coming up. There's a few of you. They need volunteers. It's a volunteer opportunity, and they need volunteers. You know, and sometimes I may have somebody call and say, hey, I heard about your program. Is there a way I can volunteer? And after, you know, finding out a little bit about them and what they do,
I think they might be a good candidate to do vet transport. And so I'll give Mace's number and say give him a call because he's needing somebody. And it might be just once a month, or you might be a standby person that they can call on. Lots of retirees in this community who wish that they had something to do. Yeah. You can volunteer, you can drive a veteran to their VA appointment, and you never know, you may wind up becoming their battle buddy. One of the things that I can tell you, my battle buddies come back, every single one of them have come back and told me, you know, I wasn't sure about this, but I get more out of this than the veteran I'm helping does. It gets you right here to know that you can help somebody who sacrificed so much in the name of freedom. Other opportunities, ways that you can volunteer in this community are through our veterans organizations. I see that we have some of our veteran organizations here in town represented. Some of them, no, I guess they're all, no, they're not all represented. But you have to understand I'm looking in all these bright lights, so I can't see if everybody showed up. Some of the veteran organizations that we have right here in Hood County, we have the American Legion Joiner Fitzhugh Post 278. It's my understanding that they're a roving post. They may meet at different places. They usually meet for dinner. Where are y'all currently meeting? At the Annex. They're meeting at the County Annex building. It's where they have their meetings. We also have Lake Granbury American Legion Post 491 out on Davis Road. They were very instrumental when the tornado came through here several years ago. That area got hit very hard. And the triage area, even though that VFW post was hit hard, that it was set up as the triage for people who needed medical attention, immediate medical attention. That's just one of the ways that they serve the community. Then we have the Riley Stevens Memorial VFW post, which is down on 377, about 2.5 miles from here, as you're going out towards Toller. They do an amazing amount of work serving the community. They provide veteran assistance, maybe a veteran coming through town that needs gas money or needs, you know, money for a hotel for overnight. They may need a wheelchair. They'll help with that. They help put in wheelchair ramps. We have several organizations that will help with that. The VFW post here in town, you know, does so much, and it's not to say the other ones don't. It's just the VFW post is the one you hear about the most because they're out there hitting the streets every single day trying to find veterans who need their help. We also have the newly charted DAV post, which is Disabled American Veterans. There's been efforts made for several years to get a post going, and they were finally successful this year, and I'm proud to say that I am a charter member of that post. They're just getting started. One of the things they're going to be working on and focusing on is community education. You know, letting the community know what's out there, what kind of assistance veterans may be needing, letting veterans know what, you know, resources are out there and available to assist them. We also have the Marine Corps League for the Comanche Peak Detachment. It's a group of Marines. I understand that they'll let some non-Marines come into their meetings from time to time, but they're a wonderful organization, and I have a lot of great friends who are members there. We also have the, what you may hear of as MOAA, which is the Military Officers Association of America, the Greater Granbury chapter. They're out there and they're doing a lot of work. I believe they're taking the lead on the Field of Flags this year. That gets put out every, you know, Memorial Weekend, and if you've never been by and seen it, it's a sight to behold. It's just amazing, the Field of Flags. I'm being waved like my time's up. Then we have Memorial Lane, because you're standing back there, JC, and I don't know if you're telling me my time's up or I need to talk about Memorial Lane. Yeah. I'm so glad somebody took it upon themselves to say you've been talking long enough. We have the amazing Memorial Lane, which is in the Jim Burks Firefighter Memorial Park. And if you've never been there, I encourage you to go. Wanted to look through. I don't think I have anything else. I just wanted to give you facts, numbers, figures, and talk about what's out there. But just as important as the veterans, we have programs to assist the family members as well. So if you're a spouse and you're struggling, reach out. Reach out to one of your veteran organizations, reach out to me. You can call Pecan Valley Centers and they can put you in touch with me. Thank you. JC's having a heart attack back there.
Robin Greer, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much, Robin. Great information. And if there's a veteran that you see that needs some help, it would be a good idea to lend a hand. Very special video presentation that we're going to have right now. We're going to recognize all the different branches of the service, and when your video shows, we would ask that you would please stand during that time. And while the screen is coming down, I'd like to direct your attention to the back of the program and look at all of the people that made this day possible. Thank you guys very much for the reality of what we do here and for making it a possibility of us continuing Veterans Day celebration each and every year. Thank you to all of our sponsors. Army, please stand. United States Navy. The Coast Guard. Air Force. United States Marine. We will fight our cause. veterans, please stand up. Wow. God bless you all, and thank you so much for your service. Wonderful presentation. Now we have a very special presentation today, the presenting of the placement of the wreath. We will have County Commissioner Butch Barton and Mayor Nin Hewlett will be placing the wreath. Echo taps performed by Neil Rendero and Henry Shannon. Please be seated. Thank you. Granbury High School JROTC program now has a very special presentation called I Am the Flag.
Detail. Forward. March. Left. Right. Left. Right. Left. 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 Right. Detail. Up. Up. Out. Hey.
I am the flag of the United States of America by Howard Schnauber. I am the flag of the United States of America. My name is Old Glory. I fly atop the world's tallest buildings. I stand watch in America's halls of justice. I fly majestically over institutions of learning. I stand guard with power in the world. Look up and see me. I stand for peace, honor, truth, and justice. I stand for freedom. I am confident, I am arrogant, and I am proud. When I am flown with my fellow banners, my head is a little higher, my colors a little truer. I bow to no one. I am recognized all over the world. I am worshipped. I am saluted. I am loved. I am revered. I am respected. And I am feared. I have fought in every battle of every war for more than 200 years. I was flown at Valley Forge, Gettysburg, Shiloh, and Appomattox. I was there at San Juan Hill, the trenches of France, in the Argonne Forest, Anzio, Rome, and the beaches of Normandy, Guam, Okinawa, Korea, and Vietnam. I was there. I led my troops. I was dirty, battle-weary, and tired. But my soldiers cheered me, and I was proud. I have been burned, torn, and trampled on the streets of countries I have helped set free. But it does not hurt, for I am invincible. I have been soiled upon, burned, torn, and trampled on the streets of my own country. And when it's by those whom I've served in battle, it hurts. But I shall overcome, for I am strong. I have slipped the bonds of earth and stood watch over the uncharted frontiers of space. From my vantage point on the moon, I have borne silent witness to all America's finest hours. But my finest hours are yet to come. When I am torn into strips and used as bandages for my wounded comrades on the battlefield, when I have flown at half-mast to honor my soldiers, or when I lie in the trembling arms of a grieving parent at the grave of their fallen son or daughter, I am proud. My name is Old Glory. Long may I wave. Dear God in heaven, long may I wave.
Please join us in a moment of silence. Thank you.
Detail, forward, march, left, right, left, right.
Again, Caitlin, Private First Class Caitlin Duggar with the reading of I Am the Flag. Thank you, Caitlin. Once again, Acton Middle School Mixed Choir.
Thank
Acton Middle School Honors Choir. Great job, great job. Taking time out of their Saturday morning to come celebrate our veterans. Thank you very much. Next, we have Veterans Day reflections and closing today, presented by Lieutenant Garrett Wigginton of the Granbury Police Department.
So not part of my speech today, but just set back by the choir, by the junior ROTC, and what an awesome job they did. Y'all join me in just giving them one more round of applause. So first of all, I want to thank everyone for being here in support of our country's veterans. Being the last speaker today, I'll keep this brief so we can continue to enjoy the inalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness that our veterans have secured for each and every one of us in this room. When I was asked to give a reflection of Veterans Day, one word continually came to mind. For many, that word may have been sacrifice, service, country, or dedication. But for me, the one word that I could not shake is time. Our veterans sacrifice so much, but the sacrifice that stands out to me is time. From the first moment a soldier recites their oath to be sworn into our military, they have immediately sacrificed an unknown amount of time. Whether they received a draft card or whether they signed a 6-year contract, the amount of time they're actually sacrificing is unknown. Time sacrifice includes the obvious. You know you're going to go to basic training. Your meal times are going to be regulated as a drill sergeant sets his stopwatch for 10 minutes the minute you receive your food. Or the time spent training in a soldier's specific job. All those are known sacrifice times. But time sacrifice also includes the not so obvious, such as time away from family and loved ones while in foreign countries, time away from spouses and children, time away during life's milestones, such as the birth of a child, a baby's first steps, birthdays, anniversaries, and holidays. As I stated, this time is unknown, but it's unknown for several reasons. As a soldier is deployed, they have a general idea of how long they're going to be deployed for. But often, the date they have set in their mind becomes a distant memory when boots hit the ground. What was supposed to be a 9-month deployment turns into 12 months. What was supposed to be a year turns into 18 months. And time, that unknown amount of time, is sacrificed. Time the soldier can't get back with their loved ones. And time the soldier's loved ones cannot get back with them. Time a spouse had to keep everything glued together because their partner was 7,000 miles away. Or the times a child didn't have a parent to tuck them in bed at night. All of this is time that's sacrificed. For some soldiers, they've sacrificed a time when they could walk, or a time when they had the full use of their arms and hands. For other soldiers, they have given the ultimate sacrifice and surrendered all the remaining time that they have on this earth. So when I think of Veterans Day and soldiers, when I think of sacrifice, I think of time. So the question stands, how do we repay these veterans for the sacrifices that they've made? The answer is the exact same as my first question, is time. I want to refer you to time. When you see someone with a Vietnam veteran cap in a restaurant, take the time to thank them for their service. When you see someone get out of a vehicle that has a Purple Heart license plate on it, take the time to thank them for their sacrifice. When you know the family of a deployed soldier, take the time to encourage them. Take the time to check in on them. And when you know a soldier who has given the ultimate sacrifice, take the time to remember them and let them never be forgotten. As I said, I want to keep this brief. So in closing, I want to thank you for the time you have taken to support our veterans today. I want to ask that as you leave here, you make it a point to continue to do the best we can to repay these veterans with your time. Thank you again for being here.